Okay, looks like we're live and connected. All right, so my name is Andrea Hylen. I am the founder of Heal My Voice. And over the holidays this year, I am sharing some information and experiences with transforming grief. It's actually, if you're just beginning to listen to this, it is a flashback to a series of shows that I hosted in 2010, 44 shows about transforming grief. And it was in August that I really felt inspired to post these shows again this season, not even realizing how things in the world would be changing so much that it's important for all of us to connect with anything that we are grieving. A loss of a loved one, a loss of something in our life, like a dream. And so today is day 3, and I've also been posting one of the radio shows every day, and the show that I'm posting today is called Transforming Grief, the Loss of a Life Partner or a Spouse. And I want to just give you a few tidbits of information that are on that radio show, which I will post the link once this is all completed. One thing that I talked about a lot was self-care. And I even noticed it today that I have been immersed in transcribing shows and getting a book ready to be uploaded onto Amazon about grief transformation. And I could begin to feel just a heaviness in my body. And one of the things that I remember after my husband died was feeling like I had 20 to 30 extra pounds of weight on me. And that's what it can feel like when you're reconnecting with grief, with a loss. And certainly during this holiday season, we remember the loss of people in our lives. But there's also a place where I'll just say the thing that comes to me is maybe you had a dream for one of your children, and your children are, you have a child who's an adult, and they are going through some things right now, and you grieve from that. We grieve for when we see that one of our children is in pain. So even though this show, the radio show today, is about when experiences that I had after my husband died, I do talk a lot about self-care. I also talked about building a relationship with grief, where grief becomes one of your friends, because grief comes to show you that you're feeling something, you're feeling love. Actually, it is love, because we wouldn't grieve if we didn't love. So when your heart is open to love and things aren't happening the way you wanted them to, or you have a loss in your life, we connect with the heaviness of that loss in our heart. So building a relationship and following the energy of what the emotions are with grief. I shared an experience where I shared the realness of my relationship with my husband, that when he died, we had had an argument maybe a year or two earlier that was unresolved. And I remember feeling a lot in that first year of anger at him, like that we didn't resolve this, that we didn't have a conversation about it, that there wasn't a resolution. And so there was a point where after 2 years, I had been doing a lot of forgiveness work, and forgiveness of myself in the relationship, forgiveness of my husband. And I watched a film called P.S. I Love You. And on the radio show, I read a letter that a deceased loved one had written to a spouse, had written to his wife before he died. And it really brought me into some deep guttural pain that I was able to release through that crying. And after that happened, I felt like I was ready to fall in love with life again. And sometimes that's also what happens, is that we feel pain and it disconnects us from love in our lives. So grieving is really important, and feeling all the feelings. Feeling the sadness will connect you with the joy. The last thing I wanted to say is that sometimes listening to a radio show or reading a book that someone has written about the loss in their lives, reading a blog post from someone, it will bring up the tears for you. It will bring up feelings that need to be released. And I was thinking that I read something the other day about a boy who is autistic, who asked Santa if he was going to be punished because if he was bad because he had autism. And there was something about that, and that when I read those words, I just sat there and sobbed, just tears running down my face. And I knew that it was heart-opening for me, but the other part of it was I was tuning in to tears, tuning into grief that was in my heart that needed to be released. Beautifully, the Santa told the boy that he would never be punished or never be in trouble for being who he is, that he could be who he is. And so during this holiday season, and certainly during this time of having a new president-elect in our country, where we're grieving as a country about feelings that are coming up, no matter who we voted for, no matter what's going on, there was a deep grief that was already present in this country. So I'm going to post the link to the show, and has self-care. It has my experience, my journey with grief, with my husband who died, and now it's been 11 years, and still there are memories that come up once in a while that need to be honored and healed as part of the cycle. So thanks for being here, and I will see you tomorrow with another show. Bye-bye now.